Your life and privacy is at risk, and drones are the culprit to blame. Drones have made this world even more dangerous. You've seen them everywhere in the news, entertainment, and even as toys. They have invaded our lives. We must set up strict laws that say drones must only be produced by the federal government and they can only be obtained from them. Because not doing so gives the average everyday citizens access to weaponizing drones. The chances of local and domestic terrorists using these devices to spy or perform a devastating terrorist attack rise tremendously. Terrorist organizations have already started testing the boundaries of this new technology. There is an article published by Homeland Security that details the first known drone swarm attack. The article, titled Syria Drone Swarm Attacks Russian Military Bases, says unmanned aircraft system platforms, or drones, attacked Russia's Crimean Air Base and Tartus Naval Facility in the region called the Latakia Governorate. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, 10 of the drones attacked the Crimean Air Base, while 3 attacked the Tartus Naval Facility. The Free Alawites movement claimed responsibility for the attack on social media. The threat of war has long faced the country of Israel and its nearby country of Iran. Both have drone capabilities, but in records posted by the U.S. military, it lists multiple attempts by radical Islamic jihadist groups based in Iran trying to send small modified drones over the border to preempt a strike. And a terrorist attack numbers are on the rise, as can be represented in the graph behind me. The importance of drone threats could endanger our generation, but more importantly, future generations. Just like the invention of the atom bomb, the threat of drone attacks and spying is pretty extensive. So far, since the creation of this technology, no single state has passed major legislation to monitor drone usage or to protect people from modifying the device to fire projectiles. With the growth of the number of drones increasing, the possibility of a terrorist attacks with them seem likely. In an article released by the FAA, the estimate that the number of drones by 2020 in the U.S. will top 7 million, 7 times its current number. We are naive to the issue. In an article called The Dark Side of Drones, Implications for Terrorism, the author, Captain Benjamin Sebert of the U.S. Army, talks about an event where the German Prime Minister, Angela Merkel, came face to face with a drone. He mentions that at a campaign rally in 2014, while giving a speech, a quadcopter drone came out of nowhere and started hovering over the podium. It was considered harmless, and the drone did eventually land near the stage. However, if a makeshift gun or explosive device had been attached to it, the Prime Minister's life could have been in danger. The freedom of drone ownership on the market affects the safety of all United States citizens across the country. A study done by the Bard College that documented close encounter collisions between passenger planes between the years 2013 and 2015 found that 921 events had been recorded by pilots. In 2015, an A320 passenger jet was landing in Heathrow, England, when a drone came within 50 feet of striking one of its engines. If it had, it may have led to the plane's crash landing and the death of nearly 150 people. Now the question we must ask ourselves, how are we going to solve this? There is a possible solution to this highly convoluted issue that I would like to bring to you. We must convince Congress to pass legislation. The bill would have to be one that places restriction on the purchase of drones. This would dramatically reduce cluttered airspace, which would lead to it being safer. Unregistered drones would become less frequent, and the ones that were registered would become closely monitored. Without question, the only way this problem can be solved is with government intervention. So, going by that, we know this plan can only be implemented by government itself. This bill of action can be divided into 2 different but equally balanced steps. Step 1, we must place a nationwide restriction on drones. They should only be available to the federal government and certain businesses. Drones available for these businesses would be government issued. These devices would be set up with tracking software and could be immediately taken over by the U.S. military. And remotely if deemed necessary, they could be controlled. There should be a complete restriction of citizens' purchases. Special cases for a citizen purchase would be brought to a committee to decide upon. Step 2 of the plan will be to create a new unit of the FAA to monitor all drone traffic across the nation. All flights must be planned and the FAA notified beforehand, just like with all regular plane flights. Just this would drastically improve the safety to our well-being. Take a second to picture this. Imagine a world where the threat of a drone attack on innocent civilians like yourselves could be almost 0%. A world where you could take your family into an open public place and you would be safe from someone trying to commit massive genocide. The consequences of inaction are without a doubt the most dangerous part of the whole subject, because it is not a question of if someone is going to use drones maliciously on civilians, but when. Now, we must ask ourselves, are we going to let this happen? We must not let this technology become like so many that were weaponized. The discovery of nuclear fusion could have been the technology to empower the entire world, but it plunged us into a Cold War for almost 50 years. This will threaten everyone's lives, even yours. A drone knows no limits. We cannot stand by. We must make our neighbors and citizens aware, even through educating others. Can we make a change before this threat makes a change for us?